With training camp just over a month away, the quiet hum of the offseason is slowly turning into a roar. The days of rest, recovery, and vacation are winding down. Now, it's all about putting in work. We're seeing players ramp up their training, sharpening their skills, and preparing for the grind of the upcoming NBA season. And this week, two young Lakers caught our eye, Bronny James and Koko, both seen putting in serious work with renowned NBA trainer Chris Johnson. Their focus? Pure development. Christian's been locked in on polishing his footwork, refining his floater game, and getting smoother around the rim. Bronny, meanwhile, has been in the lab grinding through pick-and-roll reads, ball-handling drills, and working on his overall point guard decision-making. Two young guys on the edge of the Lakers' rotation, both chasing their shot. Let's talk about their chances, their path to playing time, and what exactly they need to do to make the leap this season. Right now, Koko is hovering around the 11th or 12th spot on the depth chart. Behind the likes of DeAndre Ayton and Jackson Hayes in the center rotation, possibly even behind stretch bigs like Maxi Kleber in some matchups. Simply put, Koko is on the outside looking in. But there is a path forward. If he can evolve into a stretch big who knocks down threes at a respectable clip, that changes everything. Add in improved rim protection and more reliable defense, and suddenly he's not just a bench warmer, he's situationally valuable. Especially if Hayes continues to struggle with consistency or Ayton has trouble staying healthy. The good news? Koko's already working on those areas, extending his range, softening his touch, and tightening his timing around the basket. If he puts it all together, he might not just make the rotation, he could play a legitimate role depending on matchup needs. Now let's talk about Bronny. He came into the league surrounded by noise, from doubters, from supporters, and from the weight of the last name on his jersey. But he's kept his head down and let his work do the talking. And to be fair, Bronny looked solid in summer league. Not amazing, but solid. Definitely improved compared to where he was last year. His defense, always his strongest trait, was sharp. His effort, his feel, his timing, all stood out. But what was more important was how his offensive game started to come around. You could see more poise in the pick and roll. Better shot selection. Smarter passes. His playmaking? Definitely sharper. He showed more confidence getting to his spots and trying to make the right read. This wasn't the same player that entered the league last year. He's grown. But there's still a long way to go. His three-point shooting is still inconsistent. He shot just under 30% from deep across 6 summer league games, a number that needs to improve if he's going to have a real shot at cracking the rotation. In today's NBA, if you're a guard and can't shoot, it's hard to stay on the floor. Especially on a team chasing a championship. And speaking of the Lakers, Bronny's road just got tougher. The team recently added a veteran combo guard known for his elite defense and leadership, someone who plays the exact role Bronny is trying to grow into. That signing closed one door, but may have opened another. See, Bronny's not going to get minutes handed to him. But he can learn. He now has the perfect mentor in front of him, someone whose game mirrors the role he's aiming for. If he embraces that, sharpens his skills, and stays mentally locked in, there's a real chance he'll be ready if and when an opportunity comes. Because let's not forget, the vet they brought in hasn't exactly been the picture of health. He's only played around 50 games per year over the past 2 seasons. That's a crack in the door. A small window. But if Bronny is ready when that moment comes, that might be all he needs. So, what does Bronny need to do between now and camp? First, he's got to improve that jumper. Plain and simple. If he can become a more consistent catch-and-shoot threat from the corners or off the dribble, that opens up his entire game. Second, decision-making. The point guard role is unforgiving. One bad read, one slow rotation, and your team suffers. Bronny has to be sharp. He has to own the role of floor general, even in limited minutes. And third, stay hungry. Stay ready. Because opportunity won't knock twice. He's only 20 years old. The timeline is on his side. But momentum? That only comes from work. As training camp approaches, both Koko and BronnyJames are in a fight. A fight for minutes. A fight for respect. And maybe even a fight for their place in the league. One thing's clear though, they're not backing down. They're putting in the work. The rest? That's up to time and opportunity. BronnyJames has made strides in his development, but his offensive game still has a long way to go before he can become a consistent part of the Lakers' rotation. One of the biggest concerns right now is his shooting. While he did shoot a respectable 38% from three-point range during his time in the G League last season, that success hasn't translated to the NBA level yet. In limited summer league action, he shot just under 30% from deep, and it's clear he hasn't developed into a reliable shooting threat against NBA-level competition. And that's a big issue, especially for a player who's not a traditional center. If you're not protecting the rim, grabbing rebounds, or setting massive screens, then you have to space the floor. NBA guards who can't shoot usually don't last long unless they are elite at something else: defense, playmaking, or energy. Even players like Marcus Smart, Davion Mitchell, or Avery Bradley, names Bronny is often compared to, had to prove they could knock down open shots. If Bronny wants to earn a permanent spot in the rotation, he'll likely need to shoot at least 35% from the corners and around 35 to 38% overall from beyond the arc. Right now, he's not quite there. On top of that, there's the question of his playmaking. Bronny is naturally more of an off-ball player, which is fine, but if he wants to become a true rotation point guard or even push for a starter role down the line, he's got to tighten his handle and improve his decision-making under real pressure. NBA defenses are a whole different beast compared to Summer League or the G League. And that's where the turnovers become a concern. Bronny averaged about 4 turnovers per game during Summer League, despite playing just around 20 minutes per night. Project that out to a full game, and you're looking at 6 or more turnovers per 36 or 40 minutes. That's simply too much, even for a young player still learning the ropes. Of course, the Lakers seem committed to letting him play through mistakes and learn on the court, which is a good sign for his development. But to carve out meaningful minutes this season, Bronny must clean up his decision-making, cut down on turnovers, and knock down open shots consistently, especially from deep. The potential is there, but the clock is ticking. With the Lakers roster looking deep and competitive going into next season, the window of opportunity for young players like BronnyJames and Christian Koko is small, but not closed. Both players are on the outside looking in right now when it comes to the rotation. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, this might be the perfect situation for their development. Let's start with Bronny. For now, he's unlikely to get consistent minutes. But that's not because the organization has given up on him, far from it. Bronny is only 20 years old, and forcing him into the rotation before he's ready could do more harm than good. Right now, he has the opportunity to develop at a comfortable pace, playing behind a veteran guard who embodies the exact type of player Bronny is trying to become. That's an ideal setup. He can observe, learn, and absorb knowledge from someone who's been through the fire. Eventually, if Bronny can elevate his game, the goal is for him to either take over that role or complement it in a shared backcourt. A 3-and-D guard who provides high-level defense, solid ball handling, and enough spacing to keep the offense fluid. That's the blueprint. But here's the challenge: he's not quite there yet. Bronny's defense is promising, and we've seen real flashes of growth in his awareness, positioning, and timing. That part of his game is already ahead of the curve for someone his age. But offensively, it's still a work in progress. In the Summer League, Bronny shot just 29.6% from 3, not ideal for a guard trying to secure rotation minutes. While he did shoot closer to 38% from deep during his time in the G League, the NBA is a completely different level of intensity, speed, and defensive pressure. Shooting numbers in the G League don't always translate. And when you're not a center, you must be able to space the floor. Otherwise, you're simply not giving your team enough on offense to justify the minutes. At the very least, Bronny needs to become a 35% three-point shooter, particularly from the corners, where most catch-and-shoot opportunities come for role players. That level of consistency could make him a real option in certain lineups, especially when the Lakers want to tighten up defensively. Beyond the shooting, Bronny's ball handling and decision-making must also improve. While he's shown flashes of being a capable playmaker, he still looks hesitant under pressure. In Summer League, he averaged nearly 4 turnovers per game, despite only playing around 20 minutes per night. That translates to over 5 or 6 turnovers per 36 minutes, which is simply too much, even for a developing guard. It suggests that he's not fully comfortable reading defenses at NBA speed just yet. Still, that's where growth happens, and the Lakers appear to be giving him room to fail and learn. That's invaluable. If he can tighten up the turnovers, improve his shooting consistency, and continue bringing that defensive intensity, then Bronny could absolutely earn spot minutes next season, especially if injuries open up a slot in the backcourt rotation. Now let's pivot to Christian Koko, a player whose situation is just as intriguing, if not even more. Koko isn't locked into the rotation either, but depending on the matchup and how the season unfolds, he could sneak his way in. At the moment, he's sitting behind DeAndre Ayton, Jackson Hayes, and Maxi Kleber in the center depth chart. But the truth is, every one of those names has question marks. Hayes has been inconsistent, Kleber struggles to stay healthy, and Aiton hasn't always delivered the defensive impact you'd expect. That opens a door for Koko. He played only during the Las Vegas portion of the Summer League but made a strong impression. In just 17 minutes per game, he averaged 7 points, 4 rebounds, over 1 steal, and nearly 3 blocks. Per 36 minutes, that's over 5 blocks per game. He finished well around the rim, converting 58% of his shots, and even attempted some threes, knocking down at least one and showing willingness to shoot more. That alone is encouraging. He's confident, he's athletic, and he's working hard behind the scenes with NBA trainers to expand his game. If he can become a rim-protecting lob threat who also has the threat of spacing the floor, that's a rare skill set. Very few bigs can do all three: block shots, catch lobs, and hit threes. If Koko can evolve into that archetype, there will absolutely be a role for him. Right now, though, he's not quite a floor spacer yet. Across his limited NBA career, he's gone just 1 of 16 from beyond the arc. That's not going to earn him the green light in real games. Even in the G League, where his numbers are better, it's still not at the level of a reliable stretch 5. And even if the Lakers give him the freedom to shoot, he'll have to earn that trust with consistent results. Defensively, he's promising but foul-prone. Last season, Koko averaged over 1 foul in just 9 minutes of play. That scales up to about 5 fouls per 36 minutes. In Summer League, he picked up 4 fouls in just 17 minutes per game. While he's an excellent shot blocker, he still needs to learn how to contest without fouling. That kind of discipline is what separates raw talent from reliable contributors. So, for Koko, the goal is clear: become more consistent from deep, reduce fouls on defense, and continue to thrive as a rim runner and lob threat. If he can become a more complete version of what Jackson Hayes or Kleber offer, with better rim protection and more offensive confidence, then he could absolutely leapfrog them in the rotation. Between Bronny and Koko, both players sit just outside the main lineup. But that could change in a heartbeat. Injuries, inconsistent play, or unexpected leaps in development can all shake up the rotation. So if you're them, the mission is simple: stay ready. Keep grinding. Because the opportunity might not be there right now, but when it does come, it'll reward the player who was prepared. Now the question is, who's going to seize it first?